Hey, I love my job. Welcome to Brisbane Small Business Show. This morning, I've got Dave Meikle. Dave's from Echo Media. I've known and loved the work of Dave for years and years and years. I consider him a friend. How are you going this morning, Dave?
I'm good, thanks, Kevin. Good to be here.
That's good. Now, we know we don't agree on everything, and that's okay. We're happy with our disagreements from time to time. Now, what is it that you do for a living, and why have I got you on today?
Okay, so I do video production, and I specialize mainly in the messaging and communication of your important messages using online video. So whether that's a website or a live stream or something like that, that's where I sort of come in and make sure that you're on your message.
And isn't it funny that, in a world where we're so used to picking up the phone and calling people, all of a sudden our communication with others has just got videoed, right? Like, all of a sudden we're all jumping on it being visual as well, because we're feeling a little bit more isolated. So we feel we want to connect. So then the first thing we think about is, hey, let's jump on and have a FaceTime or a Zoom meeting or whatever else. I love the way this is going.
Yeah, and I did a session in the Brisbane Small Business School 2 years ago where we talked about this, and now it's becoming a necessity. So it's really important, even more now than it was then, that people are actually jumping on and getting started and making sure that their appearance is coming across really well in the online space.
You're ahead of your time, Dave. I've got to say, congratulations on that. Now, you've got a really interesting background. I love your background because normally I talk to people who, they've done something and they've had a bit of a change, and it's always an interesting twist, but I really love your backstory really well. So how did you get into video?
Cool. So I was a musician. We did a lot of touring and that sort of stuff. So we needed to promote ourselves. I'm also coming from the church background as well, and just being surrounded with creativity.
And that's something that, I don't know, I've just found this strange correlation that a very high percentage of people who are in video come from a church background. I don't know why. It just seems to be quite prevalent in that particular area, and I'm not sure why. Can you help me understand that?
Yeah, well, I guess one of the things about the church space is there's a lot of creativity that's happening there, and there's very low, often, margin for people to actually get involved because everyone needs volunteers in the church environment. So everyone's jumping in, having a go and learning some skills on the go. And as the church is more modernized and doing a lot more marketing, a lot more media within their services, people are jumping into that space. And so I did the same thing as I think I was late teens or early 20 video promos. And,
so you just froze up just for 1 second. So you need to go into late, and then we didn't hear what you said for a minute. Go back to there.
So I jumped in early 20s probably, and just sort of found that there was a need for some marketing and some communication to be clearer and more technically advanced once we hit the YouTube age. And so I just started playing around, ended up getting pretty good, and took it into the business world.
And look, and I do love the work that Dave does. Like, you can see that his studio setup is way more professional than mine. I want to get some tips, and so I'm going to sneak them into today's session so that I can actually start having a better studio. I've got a really cheap little lamp to the side of me that shines a little bit of thing on my face. But Dave, tell me, you do have some tips on creating a great impression, whether it's on a Zoom meeting or whether it's for a video for your website. What are your key tips?
So I guess the main thing is thinking about your appearance. We are now meeting online way more regularly. I think I don't know how many Zooms I've been on this week. But we're constantly on live streaming now. And so think about your appearance, which means, hey, if you put makeup on, put your makeup on, do your hair, wear your best shirt. But also think about what's behind you as well. You want to make sure that you don't have yesterday's breakfast on the kitchen table and kids running around. So, prepare your space, and also lighting and audio. So, if you don't have a good quality microphone, like a good quality USB microphone or something that you can plug into, and a quiet room, then get yourself a USB headset. Those things are fairly easy to come by and are going to give you good quality audio, and you can hear clearly as well. So
if they used to be easy to come by, right now, you've almost got to go to the black market and pay $1,000 for something that isn't really very good.
That is true, yeah.
Or you've got to be patient, one of the two. So
Yeah.
I'll leave that up to the audience. So appearance, making sure that you're presented in a way, because we were talking earlier about people who really stand out about getting a clear message across, whether it's a great message. We'll leave that up to the audience to work out, and those that kind of just consistently miss the mark. So who's an example of who gets a message across clearly?
Yeah, so one of the examples I've used in the past, and you reminded me of this earlier, is the difference between Trump and Clinton in the presidential race 2016. Everyone knows Trump's message. I, for the life of me, can't remember what Clinton's was. And the reason for that is, well, there's probably a few different reasons. And obviously, Make America Great Again was a slogan that even today is still standing strong.
But the beauty about that slogan is it's a slogan that you cannot argue against if you're American.
Yes,
right?
That's right.
You can say, hey, but we're already a great country. And then he can counter that with, but we could be greater, right?
Yeah.
So, he's got an argument. He's got a nice, easy to remember slogan, and it's one that you can't argue against. Yep, love that. What else?
Simplicity. Your simplicity in your messaging. That's really important. You don't want to overcomplicate the slogan that you're putting out. So again, it's a simple message, and even just consistency and look as well. You can't miss Donald Trump in a room. He's just a very consistent looking character. And like you said, love him or hate him, he does the promotion game really strong.
He does. He's great at having a broad, overarching message and then playing to the minority groups who he wants to talk to at that point in time and twisting his message to make it link to his overarching one. And that's really fantastic. The word twisting is a little bit strong and might have a bit of a negative connotation. But if you think of how you can get all of your messages relating back and feeding from your core message, then you will win far more often. And I do like the thing about the presentation. Look, he is consistent as all hell. You think about Donald Trump, and if anyone there's picturing Donald Trump, I could almost guarantee that you would be picturing him in a blue suit, white shirt, red tie, and with his absolute archetypal, almost real hair.
Yeah,
I think
and a little bit too much time in the tanning salon.
A little bit too much time. I even think sometimes he goes a little bit orange, but let's not worry about that. Enough talk about Donald Trump. So it's important that we can learn from these things, and I love the fact that we've talked about that. So appearance, be consistent, right? Now, it doesn't mean you have to be as extreme as Donald Trump to be wearing the exact same outfit all the time, but if you have a style, you think about a lot of famous and particularly people who are great at marketing, you'll picture them in a consistent style of outfit, right? Whether it's your Gary Vaynerchuk's, whether it's your Steve Jobs or whatever, right? You'll picture them in the same style. Your Oprah's, you'll picture in the same style. Ellen, you're always going to picture her in the same style, right? Yeah. So think about these people are awesome marketers, and let's learn from that. So appearance, they're very consistent in that. Yep. As you said, think about your setting and what's behind you. Okay. We don't have, we all don't have media budgets to go and get, a fresh bunch of flowers and have everything arranged perfectly behind us consistently, like these people do. But just think about the setting that you want to have, and that's really important.
Sometimes the most simple thing you can do is set yourself up in front of a window so you've got good light. If you don't have a window, then get a couple of cheap LED lights and stick them up, and if people can see you clearly, you've won half the battle.
So you're saying you should be facing the window, not have the window behind you?
Yeah, don't have the window behind you. The side or in front, just not behind, because otherwise they're just going to see a black shadow.
Yeah, and that doesn't work so well. If we can't see someone's face, we're less likely to trust them, and so we need that. So it really is that think about what's behind you. Lighting, you just said, yeah, you can get some cheap LED lights. So where would you get these cheap LED lights, and how would you set them up?
Look, you can get them on Amazon. Like I've got currently 2 lights set up on me. But I'm also a video guy, so I've got the gear already. But you can get them off Amazon. There are video production companies around Brisbane that you can go and visit and pick up a couple of cheap battery-powered lights or plug-in lights. But yeah, there's lots of options.
I'm going to shout out and say, if you are a member of Brisbane Small Business and you're watching this and you do lights, join the directory and I will buy lights straight from you, very first sale. The first person to do that, I'll buy lights from you today, like today.
Good.
But don't just put a post in here and go buy from me. I'm not going to buy from you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to the directory. I'll go to the directory tonight and I can see who's registered first. So do that.
Yeah, and I'll just double reiterate the value of the directory. It's a great place for Brisbane businesses to be there supporting each other. And I did some work with someone just this week from the directory, so it's definitely worthwhile.
Hey, earlier this week, we got a pest guy out because he was in the directory. That's how we chose who we got. So, people are using it. Dave and I are, and I know lots of other people are too, because I get told when I used to be allowed to go outside and bump into people, people would bump into me and go, hey, I picked up a job, but they wouldn't post it on the directory side. Let's not worry about that. Audio. So getting the right lighting. Now, so if you're going to get technical, you have a little bit more light coming from one side than the other, don't you? I have 2 equal. You've got a slight shadow on one side of your face.
I think one light might be just turned on brighter than the other. There's no. There probably is a way.
There's a little trick to it. I've seen you set up rooms. Don't try and pretend it's a secret. The lighting guys will tell you have just one a little bit brighter than the other one, so that you got a subtle
shadow. You want a bit
of
contrast on your face.
Otherwise, you look a bit strange if your face is absolutely symmetrical. And then you said about audio. It's really important to have good audio.
Yeah. So you can, as you said earlier, a lot of these items are a little bit harder to come by now. But jump on Amazon or go to your local. Actually,
jump on the directory. Have a look.
With these ones, you can jump on a computer shop. And
go to your IT guy. I'm going to say go to your IT guy. There's plenty of IT guys in the directory, and go there. Let's all try and shop local.
Yes, and so you can go and get a USB microphone. There's plenty of them. They're usually called a USB podcast microphone. That's probably your cheapest starting point. Next to getting some higher end microphones, but that does the job.
Yeah, look, and you can get them fairly inexpensively, or you can go out and spend a few $100s on getting something that's going to be super cool if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff. I use a roadie setup and that sort of stuff. It is pretty cool. It gets my voice out there. People say sometimes I sound like I'm shouting. Maybe I do get a bit excited from time to time. So whether you're communicating and thinking of, right now, so many sales calls are being done visually as well as instead of just on the phone. So how you come across is really critically important. If you are coming across, if you've got a lot of light behind you and your face is all dark, people will trust you less. If you're hard to hear because your microphone's cutting in and out, then people are going to go, that was all too hard, and potentially go somewhere else. So make sure that you are coming across professionally, however your, whatever your setting is, and whether it is for a video on the front page of your website, whether it is for an instructional video, because so many people are creating short courses to help educate their audience and that sort of stuff. So Dave, what is it that you do? So in case somebody wants to want some help?
So, so video production. So I mainly work with either small businesses or organizations who need to communicate. So a lot of like CEO level people needing to communicate across their staff or customers. I also do like just your general Facebook and social media ads, website videos, product demonstrations, pretty much anything around the communication using video, and helping you get those clear messages across. That's the kind of stuff I focus on.
Absolutely. Now, Sandra Price has asked, hey, so if I'm just going to be doing in a Zoom or Facebook live type thing, I'm working for a home office, what sort of background should I really have?
Well, you can have an office background. Like I think, so I'm set up in just a small little room at my home now. So I've got the ability to have a blank wall, but it just be tidy. It's okay if it looks like it's an office, if that's, what you're doing. Just make sure that you don't have your kitchen table or your bed, in the background and, just a messy environment. You want to put across a professional image.
That was a funny thing. Like I was watching, today on the last weekend when they did that, World is One, whatever, a Home Alone Together thing. All the musicians got involved and all that. And one of them was singing and their bed was in the background and unmade. And Melissa was sitting there while she watched it and she went, oh my God, they don't even make their bed. And then as soon as they cut back to the studio, the girl there goes, oh my God, they don't even make their bed.
Yeah.
So your background is important. People will notice. They will talk.
Yep.
So
and learn how to use the system as well. Learn how to turn your microphone off and learn how to turn your video off. I think there was a politician just yesterday over in England got into a lot of trouble because he didn't know how to use the system that he was on. So learn how to use the program, whether it's Zoom or StreamYard. Spend a bit of time beforehand if you've never used it, just to get familiar.
That's why I always get my guests to come in 15 minutes beforehand. Quite often we miss the start, we miss the exact time because we'll be laughing about something and having a bit of a chat because we've got our technology set up. We've planned what we're going to say, and then all of a sudden we go, oh my goodness, I've got to get back onto the show, and we'll start then. Look, Dave, it has been an absolute pleasure this morning. Thanks very much. I love your support, both for the community as a whole, also for the directory and your support there. I really appreciate you being both on it and using it really well. Particularly, as you said, you picked up another job this week from it. So thanks very much. Really enjoyed chatting with you. We'll catch you all later.
Thanks, Kevin. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone in Brisbane Small Business, just let me know, get in contact, and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction.
Excellent. Thanks. That's Dave from Echo Media.
Thanks, Kevin.